my name is Ari, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. I talk about opinions on books, and hopefully I can give you a few good recommendations. Before I get started, I would just like to ask you to please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about my 10 most underhyped books that I love. So that means that not that many people have read them, they haven't been rated that much on Goodreads, but I loved it. So I am just going to get started and talk about my very first one. First, I have Saving Raphael. Now, this book I read back in middle school, and then I recently reread it in the last year, and it is about a girl who is German and a boy who is Jewish, and they have kind of a young romance. They've known each other since they were kids, and they end up helping him out when everything is happening during World War II in Germany. And I absolutely loved this book. It was everything that I wanted. I used to love historical fiction at the time, but this book is very unpopular. I had a hard time just even finding it so I could buy it and read it again. It was really tough to do, but it is one of my favorite books that I've read, especially out of my favorite historical fictions. Next, I have Damage Done. So at the time, this is kind of an arc. My mom works at a library, so she often gets me books that she thinks I might enjoy. And so she got me this one, and I read this back when I was probably 14, and I absolutely loved it. It is about a girl who's starting in a new school, and she had to leave abruptly, and she's getting used to life without her brother, and all of this stuff. And the ending was great and shocking, and it involves a school shooting. Before the book even happens, there's a school shooting, and I loved this book. It was intriguing the whole way, and I was so shocked to find out the ending and the cause of it all. Next, I'm going to be talking about Conjured. So, Conjured I also read quite a few years ago, and I have seriously never heard anyone else talk about it. But it's about this girl who has lost her memory, and she's trying to remember her past. And I love books for some reason that have a main character that can't remember something. And it somehow connects to this carnival situation in the way that the carnival is described. Because if you didn't know, I absolutely love carnivals and circuses and books, but I've rarely seen it done right to where I'm like, that's exactly the type of vibe I wanted. And this one was perfect for me. Next, I'm going to be talking about The Girl in Red. So The Girl in Red is a book that I read recently, and it is about a girl who it's kind of like a dystopian kind of thing. It's about a girl who escapes this place because a bunch of things are happening and people are dying, and it shows back before all of this happened to now it's happening and after she escapes and all of this stuff, and it's going back and forth through that throughout the whole book. And we're following our main character, and it's kind of a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood very loosely, but it is amazing. I absolutely adored it. I was very disappointed by like the very end. It seemed to end a little bit too soon, but other than that, I really love this book and I really recommend it. Next, I'm going to talk about Pretty Girl 13. So, this is another book that I read kind of recently, and it's about this girl who also lost her memory, and she was kidnapped for 3 years, and then all of a sudden, she escapes or something, and her family finds her, and after that, we explore her mental health. So she gets discovered like at the first few chapter of the book, and then we explore her mental health and figure out what happened because she lost her memory, and we really see her how she reacts to everything and her classmates, and like the twist in this story was amazing, and what we uncovered like in this psychological thriller was amazing, and I absolutely adored it. Next, I'm going to talk about Girls Made of Snow and Glass. So this book is a Snow White retelling, but it's about a girl and her stepmother, and it's also a romance, a lesbian romance, and I didn't love it when I finished it. I was like, oh well, that was good, but it stuck with me. It stuck with me, and then the relationship and how everything connected, and it's been a while since I've read it, but it stuck with me, and I love it, and I really want to reread it soon. So if you want a Snow White retelling, which has like kind of a lesbian twist and more layers to it, then I would read this one. Next, I'm going to talk about Bone Houses. So this was also a recent read. So this is about a girl who is a gravedigger who meets a map maker, and all of a sudden all these skeletons are coming from their grave. It's not really sudden, it's always happened, but they're not staying in the cemetery anymore, they're going into the town. So this gravedigger has to figure it out and protect her family, and it's also she meets this map maker and things happen with that, and it becomes a bit more of a complicated story after they go and try to fix the problem. But I absolutely loved it. It was very interesting, and I have seriously only heard like one other person on BookTube mention it, and it didn't have that many ratings on Goodreads, but I loved it, and I think you should read it too. Next, I had to talk about my favorite book of all times. Of course, I think this is underhyped. No one ever talks about it when I thought it was the best book I've ever read. So it's about this girl. It's a retelling of the Goblin Market, that poem, but she has this relationship with this man in the forest. Now, he's a very magical man. He's ageless. They play music together, but he's like this mythical creature, and he then disappears, and he is part of the underground, and in the underground he is king of the goblins, and she has this relationship with him when she's little, but when she's older she doesn't, and people don't believe he's real as much, and then he kidnaps her sister and she has to go and save her, and it is amazing. It's my favorite book of all time. I don't understand why everyone doesn't love this book. It's perfect for me. Maybe the writing's a little flowery, because the way that they describe music was done amazing. I love how they describe music and everything like that, because it's like a passion of our main characters, and oh, I want to reread it again. Then I have Beauty. I'm starting to notice that a lot of my books on this list were retellings, but I love retellings, so obviously this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and I think it was done amazing. So Beauty in this isn't beautiful. She's awkward, and she isn't like the typical Beauty character. It's kind of, she calls Beauty just like mockingly, basically, and there's magical elements into it. It's such a beautiful story, and it was one of my mom's favorites, and I think that this is actually more popular than I think, but it's also an older book, so I don't think as many people know about it now and read it, but I love the story. It's so cute, and if you want any Beauty and the Beast romance story that you think that you just want that fix, then read this one, because I loved it. The last one I'm going to do is The Iron King. So this is a world of fairies. I think it's a retelling of Midsummer's Night Dream by Shakespeare, but it's not really a retelling. It's more like the worlds of that. Anyway, it's amazing. It's, at the beginning it might be a little hard to get into, but she is a regular human girl, and she finds out that she is supposedly from another world, so she goes back, and it is very interesting dynamic. The magical system is really good, because it deals with like iron, you can see in the title, and metal and stuff like that, and all the stuff that happens, like each book, because it's a 4-book series, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the world, and I loved that. I still think about this series like really fondly. I don't think that it's talked about that much. I've never heard anyone talk about it, but I love it. This cover is horrible though. Do you see it? It's horrible, but I love the book. So anyway, that is my list today of my most underhyped books that I love, top 10. So there's a lot of books that I really love that other people do not. But that's why I made this channel, is talk about the books that I care about and mean a lot to me. So I hope you enjoyed. I upload every single Thursday, and I will see you next time. Bye!